Hi, welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute since I did one of these photography videos. Apologies. Photography is not my full-time gig. Just for context, it's one of my passions, and I've been quite busy with life for the last few years since the pandemic. However, I'm trying to get more back into getting long-form content out there about my photography, and so I'm filming this in the amazing set of my hotel room here in Llandudno. So that's just a bit of backstory about why there hasn't been a video since 2021. That video was a trip to the Canary Islands where I was shooting film. On this particular trip, I have been shooting digital with my Canon EOS-R and also mainly with my 24-70 zoom lens, also the 70-200 telephoto. Highlights and thoughts that I've had over the last few days of taking photos out here in Llandudno. I think as a subject, the seaside is something that I'm very interested in. This is a Victorian seaside resort with lots of interesting potential subjects that I think lend themselves to my style of photography. Day one, I got here and the sun was actually popping off. But I was in such a hurry to check into the hotel that when I went out again shooting, the clouds had rolled in. It was a little bit more soft, overcast, diffused lighting, which I think actually lends itself more to the style of colour photography that I like, which is very high key, because it creates that balance of tones and the contrast isn't as sharp. I was quite interested in the muted pastel colour palette, and having that big softbox in the sky actually worked to my advantage in this instance, I think. Explored along the front, and there's a nice pier here in Llandudno as well, which with lots of interesting angles for showing the pier running off into the distance onto the horizon. You've also got at either end of the resort, there's the Little Orme and the Great Orme, which are kind of these huge rock formations that enclose the resort. I'm actually opposite the Little Orme in my hotel here, so I was able to hike up to the summit at sunrise. And also on the far side of the Little Orme, there's Angel Bay where you can see seals. And I did take one photo of the seals there, laying out on the beach with my telephoto lens, and that was nice to be able to get quite a close zoomed in view of them. You can't actually get down to the beach because it will disturb the seals. Day two, the sun was out a little bit more, and I sort of found myself torn between wanting to chase these big grand vistas of the sun hitting the coast here and lighting up the buildings. But actually, the more that I did that, I found that I was actually not as enthusiastic about the subject. I found that I was more concerned about chasing the perfect light, and I also think that my photography has shifted from landscape type photography and creating those picture perfect, pristine landscapes with amazing golden light. I feel like to me now, there's nothing wrong with that style of photography, but it's just less interesting. And I think quite often in the images, when I've gone after those grand landscape type photography images, they kind of end up feeling a little bit like a picture postcard, which is fine, but not something that I'm interested in as much these days. I'm more interested in the small details and interesting interaction between the natural landscape and the human landscape, the constructed landscape, the architecture, and looking for those moments or those interesting details that tell a story about a place. That's much more interesting to me now. So some of my favorite images from this trip are actually the simple framed compositions of some of these structures, and I think actually my favorite shot from this trip happened on day one. As I was walking along the beach, there are these shelters with these benches, and something about the dead-on square look out onto the sea and the horizon with just this little structure in the middle. So I don't know, something about that photo just really appealed to me. It's very simple, it's very pleasing with the shapes. To me, it's very pleasing anyway. So that was my favorite shot from this trip, but it was just an interesting thought that occurred to me while I was out and about, feeling the pull of wanting to go and shoot those big zoomed in postcard type images of the city. But the things that more stood out to me were those little details, things like a close-up that I took of the cable car supports. I'm not really sure what the word is, but there's this cable car that goes up the Great Orme, and just having that close-up view of one of the supports that carries the cables up the hill just tell us a little bit more of the story about that place. Also the hotels at night, something gloomy and atmospheric and kind of moody about these dimly lit hotel resort entrances at night. So I did enjoy walking around at night time and capturing some of that. Yeah, I just wanted to get this content out quickly. Sorry, it's not very polished, and I'm rambling quite a bit in this video. It's not a well-scripted, thought-out thing at all, but it is just an attempt to get more content out onto YouTube. And so I think it would be really interesting to hear from you. What do you think of the video, the photographs? What were your favorite images that I showed in this video? And what are your thoughts about the topic of chasing the grand vista or focusing in on the little details? What interests you more? Really interested to know what you think. So please comment below and let me know your thoughts. And yeah, if it goes down well, maybe I'll come back and do more of this. I hope to do so. But thank you very much for joining me on this very low budget run and gun type situation. And I will see you again soon, I hope. Thank you.